Talk Show. Recorded live.
I'm here. Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Priest, but I have my dear brother with me, Brother Ashei. What's happening, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Peace.
Peace, brother. Pretty good, brother. Over the last couple of years, I've spoken of you on a number of occasions, and I wanted to give the people a first-hand experience of some of the things that we went through and the struggles that we survived in order to bring this information to free these people. And a lot of this is still fresh for you as far as you just been home, or I've just been in contact with you the last week and a half or so. So I decided that I wanted to interview our brother and take us back through some of the situations that we experienced. And I wanted to get a live vantage point so that you all will get a chance to see his growth from where we left off at 4 years ago and where we are today. And is get a chance to witness an actual transformation according to that which can be proven as truth, backed up with evidence. You all will get a live experience, a live witness as to this. So I'm going to be asking my brother to come on with us periodically over the next 90-plus days to give us his take on what it is that he's being exposed to from this point on. So, with that being said, understand, none of this is scripted. I just called him up and said, hey, let's do this right now. He agreed. He did not know that this was coming. So, brother, I welcome you. You're in front of an audience that is, we are being listened to all over the globe. So I'll allow you to give yourself an intro, give some shout-outs, whatever you want to do to open up today.
I'm going to keep it brief. Not too familiar with the crowd, but hello all. I am Ashei, formerly of the Wayne County Moors. I've been proclaiming Moorish status for about 4.5 years now. I've been through a lot of circles as far as I wrote Islam. I rotated with Brothers in the Moorish Science Temple of America. I rotated with numerous other, even through my trials and my tribulations and my journey through this prison time, all kind of GDs and all these other nationalities of people. I just rotate and I just try to see what's going on and what's on the people's mind, where they are. I dealt with the sovereignty issue in court. I was standing in front of the judge, doing everything I was told to do. I dealt with some UCC. I'm not well versed in UCC, but I delved off into that. Just try to be well rounded in what's going on in the world, trying to expand my consciousness. So that's pretty much a brief spiel of who I am and kind of what I've just been through.
Well, thank you for that, brother. And the group that he mentioned, the Wayne County Moors, I was a part of that group. It was like a study group. And you often hear me speak about the brothers that were in that group and what they contributed to my life and what I learned from some of them and what we were able to build on. And although the group dissipated, we didn't end in a combative way or with any hard feelings towards one another, but we were those who were from various walks of life. Some of us were from Christian background, I myself from Hebrew background, and then there were those that were from Islamic background. But we were brothers. We got along very well. We had our challenges like everybody else does, and will have. But the point is we worked together, and our brother Ashei, when I met him, we instantly clicked. And he was living a pretty clean life, and then some issues come up from your past that, in a sense, kind of like haunt you in a way. But when I met him, he was on the straight and narrow path. I never saw him do anything wrong or illegal or anything, and I was around him every day. As we started studying these things, though, there's a couple of things that stand out in my mind. Like, when you first started studying these things, you went to a basketball game, and you came back and you said to me, man, what did you do to me? You exposed me to some stuff, and man, these people are crazy out here. Do you remember that experience, brother?
I think I kind of do. I went out and it was a lot of Europeans around me. I think that's what it was. I went to my nephew's basketball games. What you talking about?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. I kind of got. I was wigging out. I was wigging out. I don't remember exactly why, but it's kind of like I didn't fit in that environment anymore. It was a jarring experience. I think it was a cultural shock or something like that. Just going into a place where it's, how can I explain it? Go ahead. Just continue, because that was too big of an experience for me to try to kind of bring down right now on this. We just getting started. Let me bring that up later.
Well, what you said to me that I remember, you like, man, I'm like Neo in the Matrix or something, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're like, man, what's going on? What the heck what did you do to me?
Yeah.
And I said, all I did, brother, was tell you the truth.
Yeah.
All I did.
It was like everybody was asleep.
Yeah. And as we grow, we go through those experiences. And I did a podcast on that, I think, in 2010, and it's called Neo and the Renewing of Your Mind. And this is the brother that I'm speaking with, Brother Ashei, that was the inspiration for a lot of those things that you heard me talking about. And when I first started, it was 2011. So all through 2011, I consistently would send out my prayers and blessings to my brother because I could not contact him at the time. There was drama in my life that made it so that I didn't even have a phone any longer, and it was very difficult. But can you share with us, brother, some of the things that you've studied in law and some of the things? What is your opinion now that we've had a situation occur and now we're at the aftermath of it? What is your opinion on some of the things that you learned out there prior, to 4 years ago?
Prior to 4 years, or up through my 4 years also?
Well, yeah, both. That would be good. Both of them.
Okay, well, the first thing I was taught was status. They were teaching me that I'm not a corporation, I'm not a person, and they was teaching me all these things. And when I went into the court, I seen that was actually true. Went into the court, and the judge was calling me a person. I say, well, I'm not a person. And she say, well, the being in the red shirt, she trying to be funny, but she knew she couldn't call me a person anymore. The being in the red shirt, so then she started referring to me as the being in the red shirt because I wouldn't let her call me a person. So that was big, just knowing who you are, and a lot of other things. But what I want to get off into, well, before I go to that, I was watching something on the news one day, and they were saying that the corporations could vote because corporations are people or some to that matter. And you got all these people. This came down from the Supreme Court. Corporations get a chance to vote under the First Amendment. People were outside picketing and rioting saying corporations are not people. I don't know if the judge said exactly that corporations are people because I didn't see the ruling, but I saw the effect of it. The people were picking and saying corporations are not people. I think they probably said the corporation is a person, but they picking and saying corporations are not people. But I'm thinking like the Supreme Court is telling you guys that corporation is a person, and you're going to picket them in their decision with what they got on in their system. It didn't make any sense to me, but anyway, I learned a lot as far as pulling your straw man and your account that's hooked up with the government and all these different things. But once I got inside of the prison, it's a lot of people claiming sovereignty in prison. and a lot of the stuff they sending in, the judges are saying this is frivolous. Stop sending this stuff in here. This is not work. This is all fraud. So, and it's a lot of people. It was tough. I was still fighting. I was fighting my whole time. Even after they kicked my door in and they kidnapped me and took me into prison, I'm still fighting from inside of prison, and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm saying I know it works some kind of way, but I just don't know how it works. So, and they moving me all around. They got a thing where, okay, I got Moors behind me, and they trying to help me, so they start moving me to all these different, the county over here, the county over here, the prison over here, the prison over here. I think they was trying to disconnect me from my power base. But they sent me to Chicago. In the Chicago MCC, it was a guy, he had boxes and boxes of everything sovereignty. And he was like, man, I'm asking him, I'm like, man, I'm trying to fight this. They don't have jurisdiction because of this, why, and third. And I got my one, what is it, financial statement, the one. UCC one, I got my UCC one with my security agreement. I got all this filed. I got my bond and everything, and they still won't let me out. He said, man, that doesn't work. He was like, look at this here. He said, I got all this here. He's showing me all this. At the time, I didn't even know what a fiduciary was. He said, I got this, the 56 with the fiduciary, and I got this and this. And he said, look at my transcripts. I was in court saying I'm accepting it for value, and I was over here, and I was saying everything I was supposed to say. None of this is working. He was like, it was another guy that was helping me with it who knew even more than me. He said, I ended up just going ahead and taking the plea. He said the other guy got 45 years underground in the ADX for messing with this sovereignty thing. I say, whoa. And he knew a lot more about it than I did at the time because I was just a baby. I was a newbie I was only 6 months into my studies when they came and grabbed me. So that made me kind of step back and look, and then I'm looking at other people, and they so irate. They come into prison, and this is going to work. And he's like, because this says this pursuant to this and this. I'm like, brother, I think this word is pursuant. He's like, no, it's not. So these people get this thing in their head because somebody told them it worked, and they in a situation where they feel like, man, this got to work, or I'm going to go to prison. So they cling into this sovereignty thing that's not working for any. I haven't seen it work for, I haven't seen it work. I've seen people do different things with the information, but I haven't seen the sovereignty work where you can pull yourself out of prison or, all this kind of stuff. So I haven't seen it work. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but I've been going to prison and meeting person after person. They say, oh, yeah, well, he canceled his taxes and he was able to take and discharge this, that, and this and that kind of stuff work. But as far as people and their status and this jurisdiction issue, I haven't seen that work. So that's just some of what I might have trailed off a bit, but I'm trying to give you what I got and what I've been through.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And what you're hearing, brothers and sisters, this is live. This is not scripted. And I have not heard this from him, his point of view or his vantage point of his experience. And I was out here in the field every step of the way doing whatever I could to help my brother get free. And I put everything aside for that. And I want to say this. Once it's his life, listen good now, it's his life that the Lord used to show me something that woke me up and said, wait a minute, man, I see it now because the missing key is these scriptures. And I saw it, and I told him recently that I saw it when we had to deal with this thing on an appearance bond. When I looked up the term appearance bond in the law dictionary, basically a bond is a loan. So they give you a loan on the promise that you're going to come back to face a hearing or a trial or what have you. So they'll release you, and they're loaning you the money that you'll come back. But what it says is that if you read the definitions, it said that you were already in prison before you showed up. So the appearance bond was somebody that was already in prison, that's released from prison, and they have to show back up. Well, Brother Ashei was not in prison. He was at home, chilling.
Yeah.
We were having a lot of fun, a lot of breakthroughs. We were studying every day. We were very spiritual in what we were doing. So when I saw that, I realized, wait a minute, man, something's not right here. If we're already in prison and we're not in prison, and this is everybody, you can read the definition, you'll figure it out. What I realized was the fight was wrong. It's the inappropriate fight. And what happened to me was I'm fighting my house case, and I'm beating them the hell up. I'm beating them down. Wiped out 2 law firms. I set that case aside to focus on my brother's case, because I said to myself, well, even if I end up losing my house, I'd rather lose a house than lose a brother, because we had 45 years to life, 35 years to life we were facing. We were in it together. So as you can hear him say, these things that he witnessed, all the people inside of these prisons were doing, did not work. Now, I haven't talked to him about this. I have, since the day I read that appearance bond and the Lord showed me the clear vision of what was going on, honest to God, I have been on a campaign to stop our people from going down that fraudulent path of that so-called sovereignty. Now, what you're going to witness over these interview periods with our brother is you're going to see his conversion, his growth, his awareness expand. I'm telling you, you're going to see this. Brother, so you mentioned to me that you even ran into people that were connected with BMF, Black Mafia family. Can you tell me about that experience?
Well, when I went over to Herlong, California, Southwest T was there. That's Big Meech's brother. And then when I came over to Arkansas, I was in Forest City, Arkansas, J-Bo was there. That was Big Meech's right-hand man. But I don't really know exactly where am I supposed to be going as far as telling the story, or what aspect of them, my dealings with them do you want me to convey?
Anything. Just say anything. I think the reason why I'm bringing them up is because they're really popular right now. They're looked upon as heroes in a way, and I'm just focusing on the positive aspects of what you might have came across in dealing with them. I'm not promoting what they did. I mean, I understand if they were doing what they allegedly did, that's wrong. But I'm saying, just speak on your experience with them, because a lot of people like that kind of information.
Okay,
he ran into Big Meat,
Well, yeah, I ran into T.I. too. I was down there with T.I. T.I. was down there with me and J-Bo. Okay. When I went over to Herlong, Southwest T there. So when I go to the prison, when I get into prison, since I'm so far from home, everybody from Detroit kind of click up. So I come into prison, they say, where you from? You from L.A., homie? No, I'm not from L.A. And he got just spent off of me like I was, old news, old cheese or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, it was a brother. So I end up getting with the Detroit car, and they telling me all this and that. Let me see your paperwork, and they telling me all this and that. And they let me know, well, Southwest T on the compound, but he don't deal with the homies. He with the Bloods, but he really into Christianity. So he didn't really come out. I never seen him, but I always hear stuff. Oh yeah, man, they stole his shoes. I'm like, they stole his shoes. Yeah, he just let him steal his shoes and then come back again. Yeah, man, somebody fired on him. Now he in the hole. That's the last thing I heard about him. Somebody from North Carolina punched him in the face. They get to fighting, and then he in the hole. So I don't really know much about Southwest T. He was I think he was on blood time. I think he was kind of hanging with the Bloods. So when I get over to Arkansas, I was in Forest City, Arkansas. You got J-Bo down there. Now J-Bo is super cool, man. Just super cool, regular type dude. I kind of got the feeling that all that money they made, all that they had, all that was going on, I don't think he got access to it now. You know what I mean? I think the feds done made it to where after all that long reign and all the stuff they did for so many people, by them being in a situation where they not conscious of how to protect themselves, everything's stripped away. So he in there and he running a little, you know, he running this little thing he trying to do, but you know. But as far as the guy, he was a cool guy. You know, we sit back and kick. He still got little people running around for him. You know what I mean? So that was kind of cool to just see. But T.I., he was in there. You know, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he was in the hole. Tiny came to visit. When I first got there, he was in the hole. Tiny came to visit him. She stuck her hands in his pants, and you know how that go at the visit. So they caught them two doing that. They put him in a hole, and they changed the whole visiting room around. So you can't sit next to your girl. You got to sit across from your girl and all this kind of stuff. So so he ended up getting out of the hole, and we kicked it a little bit, and he was telling me about the entertainment industry. I'm interested in the entertainment industry, but he kind of wasn't feeling being in prison at all, you know. But he would come out. He'd come out. He'd kick it. He'd go to the yard. He'd work out a little bit. He was actually, I thought he would be kind of like, I'm rich, let me stay away from all this prison stuff. But he really kind of was in the front of, he was leading the car. All the Atlanta dudes, he was like the leader of the little Atlanta dudes, you know. When they had an issue, everybody get together and he leading the people. I said, okay, that's cool. He ain't just some studio on TV dude. He actually he is really hood, you know. He would tell you a real real street dude. But so that's just some of my dealings with going on what was in the prison. Some of the figures that I met in there.
Well, that's really interesting, man. And I see you ran into some people. You ran into the celebrities. You ran into some people that call themselves sovereign. There was one brother that you wrote me about that I never got a chance to contact, and I forget his name now. But it was I guess the brother was a real good brother, but I never got a chance to contact him because we were out here at war. We were straight up at war. I mean, we were really fighting this beast for real. We were doing the real fight. This was the real fight. We were fighting for our lives. We were fighting for the things that was going on historically. And I remember one time when we were headed to court. Now, this is all federal court, you all. This is not those little Rudy Pook games that you all play in them kangaroo courts. Yeah. We went in and did this stuff in federal court. And you all got to understand the difference. Some of you go and play with these little local county court judges and all of that. Okay, you're not going to get away with this stuff in the federal court, period. You're not. Either it's real or it's not, and it's not going to work. But let's talk about some of the appearances of little victories that we had. Maybe not to a great degree, but let's, a little bit of the little slight victories that it appeared that we had right before you left. One of them was there was a scheduled court date. You sent in some paperwork. And they had the scheduled court date. We went down there. I don't remember I don't think I went down there with you. I think you might have went separately. I can't remember how I went. We go down there, and the courtroom is dark. The lights are off. Nothing there. We walk over to the clerk's office. Like, what's up? We're supposed to have a hearing with my man here today. They look in the record books. They're like, well, there's nothing here. They said, well, if it's scheduled, maybe they're just late or something. We stepped down there for about a half an hour, nothing. So do you recall that experience, brother?
Yeah, they from the inside, they just told me my court date was changed. They didn't say why, none of that. They just told me the court date was changed. And I remember another time we were supposed to go to court, and I sent in some paperwork. I think you started telling that story. It was two different stories, actually. I was out, and I sent in some paperwork, and I just didn't go. I just didn't go to court. And right. I'm thinking they're going to do something because I'm on tether. The whole issue was I was on tether. So what was being said was, well, if you wasn't on tether, you could send in this paperwork and everything would just go away. But since you're on tether and you keep reporting, that's the big thing because you keep going down there. But I'm knowing if I don't go down there, then they're going to come get me because I'm on tether. Well, that's what I was feeling like. So just this particular time after I had got my UCC-1 in, my security agreement, et cetera, hold on 1 second.
And brothers and sisters, we're not going to be much longer.
Okay. Once I got the paperwork in, I just said I'm not going to go because the thing said that we wasn't coming. And when I didn't come, all they did was send a notice to say, well, come to this next court date. Okay, you didn't make it to the first one. Come on to this second one. Come on down here. And our thought process at the time was, well, we're not under your jurisdiction. Why we have to follow your instructions? It's like at McDonald's. If I work at McDonald's, you could tell me not to go to the bathroom because I'm your employee. But if I'm not part of your system, then why do I have to come at your beck and call? There's no reason. So that was the thought process at the time.
Yeah, and I want to put this out there. I'm not saying that any of you should go out there and try any of this stuff. We did the work. We put in the work. And I have to say with the blessings of the Most High Almighty that we as a team, as a unit, were able to accomplish things, even in the sacrifices that we had to make, even in the suffrage that we suffered. We cracked the codes that were necessary by the blessing of the Most High Almighty. So don't look at these things as heroic. I'm going to go try and do this at home. Don't do that. Don't do this at home. But basically what the brothers are saying, he sent in some documents, you know. He was out. He was on tether. He sent in some documents. He said, I'm not coming to this hearing. And he didn't go. And I was, every step of the way, I was there with him. Every step of the way. If he had to go to the hearing, I'm right there with him, riding downtown with him, on the way, walking into the court with him.
Yeah. We were in the court one day with the feds on.
Yeah,
nobody else was in the courtroom. It's just us. Just five of us, 5 more was feds on, and the judge and her little counsel, you know.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a feds, but the other brothers did.
You actually.
Because I'm a Hebrew, so I would have worn a turban or a mitri, so I didn't have that. But, you know, all the brothers were wearing it. I'm standing right by him proudly. As a matter of fact, when the judge came in one time and the bailiff says, all rise, and we didn't rise, the bailiff looked at the judge like, what am I going to do? What should I do? And she just waved him off. She was like, just leave him alone. She waved him off. And we found out that judge, she dealt with Chris Webber's case, who was under investigation.
She just did Kwame Kilpatrick's case.
She did Kwame's. She was appointed by George W. Bush. Yeah. So she was actually a close friend of George W. Bush. And she was Jewish, we came to find out. But ultimately, those things that we went through, I want to express to the people, they were very difficult. But this brother would amaze me because he would walk into the court so cool, so stone-faced, like no emotion. I'm like, man, this is a soldier here, because he just stepped up to the plate, did what we had to do, and it didn't show, you know, like he didn't show any signs of being rattled. He stood on the principles, stood on the history, stood on what he knew of as truth. And his life is a testimony. And I'm saying this publicly because without him, none of this information that we have today would not be out here. Because this brother took what we had and we went in there and fought them. And we had minor victories. And I really, in my heart, as I told him, I feel like even though you had to leave for a few years, they were trying to give this man life for something he and I were hanging out every day. And if you know Brother Priest, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing illegal. All I do is go out here, kick these scriptures, kick this law all day, every day. That's all we did. All day, every day was study. So they come up with some stuff that was from years ago in his life and try to stick that on him. And I said, brother, look, you're not doing that no more in your life. And the stuff they're saying, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm sticking with you, and you got my 100% commitment. What else you want to tell us, brother, about how do you view yourself and looking at all those people? How do you really feel about what it is they're doing and claiming?
Something popped in my mind a second ago about a guy, a German guy. They used to call him the $60 million man. He was worth $60 million. He was into the sovereignty thing, and we would be walking the track, and he telling me all this different stuff. And no one really knew what he was in prison for, but he had 25 years. And one day I got him to kind of open up about it because I was saying, yeah, man, I'm sovereign. He was like, well, if you're sovereign, you don't have to say you're sovereign. You know what I mean? That was one thing he would say. But then it would come out that he had did something where he tried to, I think through UCC, take all the houses in America from the government or something. Some kind of, that's the kind of stuff you get when you're dealing with people with that, you know, these sovereign movement people. What are you talking about? You're trying to take all the houses in America from the government. What are you saying, man? This is why you in prison for 25 years. You know, man, really, I just want to say with that movement, man, be careful what you're doing. Don't focus on getting yourself free. I think that's one of the most monumental tasks we can take on as a people is getting yourself free. And then once you get yourself free, then you could maybe free some other people, maybe people in your family, or show them how to be free, because freedom is, I think that's a personal issue. So the big thing is get yourself free.
That's right. And since our brother's been gone, as you're hearing live reports, he didn't have no idea I was going to bring him on the radio. I didn't know I was going to bring him on the radio today. But you're hearing a live report of our actual struggles and experiences of what it took to bring this to you. I got assaulted by the police. They lied to me. They broke in my house, basically. This was me defending my house in the mortgage case. I had got a settlement letter from the mortgage company admitting that they were wrong, and they made me an offer of $1,818.83. They sent it through the then Attorney General of the state of Michigan, Mike Cox. So they were trying to settle with me outside of court, and they were asking me to leave them alone. Well, I'm trying to show this to these people. Look, they've already admitted they're wrong. Just leave me alone, man. Let me go on about my business and, do what I'm going to do. But still, they tried to come and take my house from me. So I stood to defend my house, because what I recognized was that when you have a home free and clear of debt, that's real freedom. So they assaulted me. The police came in, grabbed me, grabbed my arm, almost broke my arm, threw me down to the floor. I blacked out for like 30 seconds. They're yelling at me and everything. And the brother Ashei don't know all of this because he was gone at the time. But later on, when I was beating the hell out of these attorneys in a court, in federal court, they went and told the police I was in here selling drugs. They tried to raid the house with guns, and I was staring at gunpoint, and they were hoping I had drugs or illegal weapons or whatever. I didn't have any of that because that's not what I'm about. So we went through a lot of heartache and pain. I lost contact with my brother while he was in there. They were moving him everywhere, and like you said, they were trying to keep you away from us, and that was clear to me. Yeah. And the one guy, the FBI ordered stuff from my website twice, and I sent it to him. Yeah. And I didn't have any shame. I sent it to him. It's like, I'm not here to hide anything. What I'm standing on is truth. I'm not standing on falsehood. It took us a lot to get here, brother. We went through a lot of heartaches and pains. But I can say today that the Lord is with us and we're on the right path. So tell us what your plans are now that you're home, brother, what you're doing with your life now, and, besides the fact that you're an official honorary member of this nation, whether you actively participate or not, your life is why we're here. But tell us some of the plans you got going on now.
Well, my thing first and foremost is to enjoy myself, because that was a long ride. so at the top of my list is enjoying my little self a little bit, I'm going to make some music. I'm going to kind of chronicle some of what I've been through. I like to make music. That's a good outlet. I believe everyone should have an outlet. I'm going to learn. I'm going to take and see what Brother Priest has for me to learn, the new information I need to learn so I can get myself free. Because that's high priority, especially coming from being not free. At the level I was not free at for so long, freedom is really high on my list of things to do. So pretty much past that, I don't want to get off into too much of my plans, but that's pretty much it. Enjoy myself and get free.
Well, thank you, brother, for this brief interview. This is one of my closest friends. And I'm very, very thankful that he's home. You don't know how excited I was when I found out he was home. And I'm just eager to move forward. So we'll have him back periodically. And we're going to chronicle his growth, the expansion of his awareness and comprehension. And I want you all that are not with this nation or those who are thinking about doing some of these things, stay tuned. I'm going to make sure we try and bring them on here weekly. Stay tuned.
One last thing.
Stay tuned.
One last thing.
Yes,
my motto is, you only get to live this life once, so you might as well do it, man. You might as well do it all the way, man. You know what I mean? Don't play with it. Yeah, that's it.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, brother, for attending with us, and thank you all for listening. I advise all of you that when you see this name Ashei pop up on this talk show, I think you all that are in that movement, Moorish movement, sovereign movement, Hebrew sovereignty, any of that, I think you all are going to want to pay attention, because you're going to get a first-hand experience from this brother that's walked this, and now that we have this added information to it, you're going to see something that you need to see. So stay tuned. Thank you, brother, and thank you all for listening.
All right, peace.
Peace.